today we will discuss about working capital management. This will be dealt in two parts. Part 1 deals with basic concepts and working capital determination. Part 2 is about the components of working capital. First, we should know what we mean by working capital. By working capital, we mean the funds required to run the day-to-day operations of the firm. When we are talking about working capital, basically we deal with two concepts. One is gross working capital, the other is net working capital. By gross working capital, we mean the total of current assets. When we come to net working capital, we refer to excess of current assets over current liabilities. For example, if current assets are 50,000 and current liabilities are 40,000, total of current assets 50,000 will be considered as gross working capital. Excess of current assets over current liabilities, that is 50,000 minus 40,000, 10,000 will be referred to as net working capital. We should know why there is a need for working capital. The need for working capital arises because of operating cycle. By operating cycle, we mean the sequence of events which are taking place in the manufacturing concern will be considered as operating cycle. When we purchase the raw material will not be directly converted into finished goods. For some time, it will be in the form of raw material stage, and the process of conversion of raw material into finished goods takes some time. In the middle, there will be work in process. These finished goods will not be immediately sold. For some time there will be in the stock, and then it will be sold on credit basis. If it is sold on cash basis, directly we are going to get cash. But when we sell on credit basis, we do have debtors. From the debtors, we may receive directly cash, or they may give us bills receivable. This bills receivable will then be converted into cash, and cash will be available to the firm for the purpose of again purchasing raw material, converting into finished goods, and then again getting cash from debtors. So, this sequence will involve time. So, the duration of time required for completing this full sequence of events in a manufacturing firm is considered as operating cycle. Greater the time required, greater the operating cycle, greater will be the requirement for working capital. Now, coming to the types of working capital, we have two types of working capital. One is hardcore working capital and the other is temporary working capital. By hardcore working capital, we mean the permanent working capital, which is required at any time in the organization to run the day-to-day operations. It is as fixed as the fixed assets. Temporary working capital refers to the need for the working capital depending upon the sales requirement. As the sales increase, working capital also increases, and that excess working capital is considered to be a temporary working capital. These are the two types of working capital. We should know what are the factors which affect the working capital. First one, let us take nature of business. When we say nature of business, if it is a manufacturing and trading concern, the firm has to produce the goods and then it has to keep it in stock, then later it has to sell to the persons concerned. So, this takes time. In the form of raw material, you are going to purchase more of raw material in order to see to it that the production is not interrupted. At the same time, you are going to have more of finished goods in order to meet the requirements of the customers. Therefore, if the nature of the business is relating to manufacturing and trading concern, naturally working capital requirement will be more. Whereas, if you take a public utility concern, sales will be on cash. When it is on cash, your amount is not being blocked up in raw material or finished goods. In such a case, the requirement for working capital will be less. Then the next factor is credit policy. You may be offering goods not on cash basis, but on credit basis. When you are selling goods on credit basis, naturally you give some time to the customers in order to pay the amount. It may be 2 months, 3 months or whatever it is. Greater the period of credit offered, greater will be the requirement of working capital, because your funds are being blocked in the form of debtors. Similarly, if you take average credit, that means credit being given by the creditors. When you purchase goods on credit basis from the suppliers, then in such a case you are going to get the credit. When you get the credit, you do not immediately require cash in order to make payment to them. Therefore, the working capital requirement will be less. if it is a growing firm, when it is a growing firm, in such a case sales will be more, your production should be more. As a result, you should have more of raw material and more of finished goods in order to meet the demands of the customers, and at the same time you may have to offer goods not on cash basis but also on credit basis. In such a case, the requirement for working capital will be more. When it comes to the manufacturing cycle, by manufacturing cycle we mean time taken to convert the raw material into finished goods. Greater the manufacturing cycle, greater the time required for converting the raw material into finished goods, greater will be the requirement for working capital. Market conditions, when you have to face competition, in order to face competition from the competitors, in such a case you may be selling goods on credit basis, more of goods on credit basis, and naturally you will be having a variety of finished goods in order to meet the varied needs of the customers. In such a case, your working capital will be blocked and the requirement for working capital will be more. Now let us come to the levels of working capital. What should be the level of working capital? Whether the level of working capital should be less or it should be more. It all depends upon the liquidity and profitability. You have to make a trade-off between liquidity and profitability. Now let us see what you mean by liquidity. By liquidity we mean the ability of the firm to meet the current obligations. You require the amount in order to pay the current liabilities. Current liabilities are for a period of 1 year. Within a period of 1 year you may have to pay them. Similarly, current assets are those assets which can be converted into cash within a period of 1 year. So, this current assets which is being converted into cash will be used for the purpose of making payment to the current obligations. That means you have a good liquidity. Liquidity is the ability to meet the current obligations. When you have more working capital in the sense that when you have more current assets, there will not be any problem for converting into cash and then paying the current obligations. But the problem is the funds are being blocked in the form of current assets, that is in the form of stock of raw material, stock of finished goods, then your debtors, as a result of which this amount is not available to you. If this amount is available to you, you would have invested somewhere. By investing somewhere, you would have got a return. That return you are foregoing. So, if you want more liquidity, your profitability will be less. At the same time, if you want more profitability, your liquidity will be less. So, you have to make a trade-off between liquidity and profitability. Another way of looking at the same point is cost-benefit trade-off. Here, different two costs are being involved when you refer to the working capital. One cost is cost of liquidity and the other is cost of illiquidity. By liquidity, we mean the ability to make payment of the current obligations. By illiquidity, we mean the inability to meet the current obligations. If you have more of current assets, then in such a case liquidity position is good. But at what cost you are getting this liquidity? At the cost of profitability. Your profitability will be less. That means you are foregoing the opportunity to earn a return. That foregoing is considered to be your opportunity cost. So, in the form of opportunity cost, your cost of liquidity will increase with the increase in the level of current assets. But when you come to the other cost, cost of illiquidity, that means inability to pay. When you have more of current assets, there will not be any inability to pay. Therefore, the cost of illiquidity comes down. So, the intersection of these 2 points, cost of liquidity and cost of illiquidity, will determine the optimum level of current assets. So, you should have neither more working capital nor less working capital, but have an optimum level of current assets. Now, this working capital, that is gross working capital, current assets we mean. How are we going to finance this current assets? There are 3 approaches. One is hedging, conservative and aggressive approach. By hedging approach, we mean matching concept. That means, if you require funds for 1 year, you should raise funds for a period of 1 year only. You have 2 sources of funds. One is long term source, the other is short term source. Short term source is your current liabilities, long term source is other than current liabilities. We have hardcore working capital and temporary working capital. That means hardcore working capital is permanent working capital and temporary working capital. Permanent working capital is as good as your fixed assets. So, fixed assets and permanent working capital are required for a period of more than 1 year. That means it is for a long term period. Therefore, you have to finance this long term assets with long term sources. Similarly, temporary working capital is for a short period, therefore, you have to depend upon the short term sources. So, you are matching the requirement of funds with the source of funds, that is what is considered to be your hedging approach or matching concept. Now, coming to the next approach, conservative approach. Conservative approach means you do not want to take any risk, in the sense that if you depend more on short term sources, what happens is, again when you need more funds for a long period, this short term sources may be renewed, may not be renewed. So, you want to be conservative, hence you are going to depend more upon the long term sources. So, you are going to finance fixed assets, permanent working capital and also a part of temporary working capital with long term sources. That is your conservative approach. Now, when you go to the aggressive approach means you are depending more upon the short term sources. So, you are financing not only the current assets, that is temporary working capital, but also a part of permanent working capital is being financed from short term sources. That is what is considered to be a aggressive approach. This is how you are going to finance the current assets. Now, we have to estimate. Now, we have dealt about the basic concepts and from where we are going to get funds in order to finance the working capital. Now, we should also know how to estimate the working capital requirement. Working capital estimation depends upon two methods. One is your operating cycle method and the other is working capital calculation for each component. Now, let us deal with first method, operating cycle method. According to operating cycle method, first we are going to determine as to what is the period required for the operating cycle. Operating cycle is R plus W plus F plus D minus C. Here R refers to for how much period raw material is in stores. For what period you are going to have raw material in stock. Then W refers to the period for work in progress, F refers to period of finished goods, D refers to how much period we have given credit to the customers and C refers to the credit being taken by us from the suppliers. We are going to minus this C because this amount we do not require in order to pay them right now. In future we are going to pay depending upon the credit we have taken. Now, let us see how are we going to calculate this R, W, F, D and C. Now, when we come to R refers to average stock of raw material divided by average raw material consumed per day. Now, when we refer to average stock of raw material is opening stock of raw material plus closing stock of raw material divided by 2. Now, average raw material consumed per day. How are we going to get this raw material consumed? First, take opening stock of raw material, add purchase of raw material what you have made minus closing stock of raw material. This gives you average raw material consumed. This average raw material consumed is per annum. Now, when you want to get per day, divide by number of days in a year, 365 days. For the purpose of convenience, we can as well take 360 days in a year. So, average raw material consumed per day would be total raw material consumed in a year divided by number of days in a year. Now, we will go for the next one, work in progress. Similarly, the numerator will be the same. If it is work in progress, we are going to take average work in progress. So, average work in progress is opening work in progress plus closing work in progress divided by 2. Now, come to the denominator. Denominator would be average cost of production per day. Cost of production is already we have calculated raw material consumed. To the raw material consumed, add direct wages, direct expenses, factory overheads, opening work in progress minus closing work in progress and add administration overhead. This gives you cost of production. This cost of production which you have ascertained is for 1 year. Divide by number of days in a year, 365 or 360 days, we get average cost of production per day. Now, come to the finished goods. Finished goods, I told you in the beginning, the numerator will be the same because it is finished goods. Take average finished goods and then divide by average cost of goods sold per day. We have already calculated cost of production. To the cost of production, add opening stock of finished goods minus closing stock of finished goods, you are going to get average cost of goods sold. In order to get cost of goods sold per day, divide by number of days in a year, 365 or 360, you get average cost of goods sold per day. Average book dates would be opening datas plus closing datas divided by 2. And denominator would be average credit sales because we have debtors only when we sell goods on credit basis. When total sales are given minus cash sales, you get credit sales. If cash sales or credit sales figures are not given, the assumption is total sales will be taken as credit sales. Average credit sales per day would be credit sales divided by number of days in a year. Then C is creditors. So, average creditors are opening creditors plus closing creditors divided by 2. Credit purchases divided by number of days in a year, we get average credit purchases per day. Now, let us take an example and see how are we going to calculate this working capital. First, you calculate this operating cycle so that we know how much duration, how much time is being taken in order to complete the sequence of events in a manufacturing concern. Now, once we get operating cycle, let us say we are going to get operating cycle 60 days. Now, 60 days we are getting, in a year how many 60 days are there? In a year, let us say for round figure 360 days. So, 360 days divided by 60, we get number of operating cycles. So, after calculating operating cycle, next step would be calculation of number of operating cycles. Number of operating cycles would be number of days in a year divided by duration of operating cycle. Once we get number of operating cycles, working capital requirement calculation would be very simple. Take the total operating cost divided by number of operating cycle. So, take the total cost incurred in the organization. When you divide by number of operating cycles, automatically you will get how much amount is to be there in the organization as working capital. So, working capital requirement calculation involves calculation of operating cycle first, then number of operating cycles, then come to the actual calculation of working capital. Now, let us see with an example how are we going to calculate working capital requirement. Here, find operating cycle and working capital. Here, period in a year is given as 365 days. If it is not given, you can take 360 days for the purpose of convenience. All the amount rupees is given in thousands. Average period of credit given, they have given C directly as 16 days. We need not have to calculate again C because it is given directly in the problem, C as 16 days. Average debtors are given. If average debtors are not given, then we would have calculated opening debtors plus closing debtors divided by 2. Average debtors are 480 followed by 3 zeros because rupees in thousands it is being given. Then raw material consumed, production cost, cost of sales, sales, average raw material, average work in progress, average finished goods. These are the figures which are being given. From these figures, we are going to calculate working capital requirement. First, in order to calculate R, what is the numerator? Average stock of raw material. Average stock of raw material is given in the problem as 320. So, take this 320 followed by 3 zeros, 320 followed by 3 zeros, divide by raw material consumed per day. How are we going to get raw material consumed per day? Raw material consumed per day would be, here directly raw material consumed is given as 4400 followed by 3 zeros. This raw material consumed is per annum, we have to get per day. So, 4400 followed by 3 zeros divided by 365 days, we get 12,055. So, average stock of raw material divided by average raw material consumed per day, we got 27 days as R. Similarly, calculate for W. W is work in progress. Formula being average work in progress. Average work in progress is given as 350. So, average work in progress 350 followed by 3 zeros divided by average cost of production per day. Average cost of production, production cost is given as 10,000. So, production cost divided by number of days 360, we are going to get 27,397 as average cost of production per day. So, when we divide, we get work in progress as 13 days. Now, we will go for F. For the purpose of calculation of F, we require average finished goods. Average finished goods is 260 divided by average cost of goods sold per day. Average cost of goods sold, this cost of sales is given as 10,500 divided by 365, we are going to get 28,767. So, 2,60,000 divided by 28,767, we get F as 9 days. Now, come to debtors. Debtors would be average book debts divided by average credit sales per day. Average book debts given in the problem are 480. So, average debtors divide by average credit sales per day. Here they have not given as to what is credit sales, they have given total sales. When credit sales figures are not given separately, total sales will be considered as your credit sales. So, take this credit sales 16,000 divided by 365, we are going to get 43,836. 4,80,000 divided by 43,836, we get 11 days. Add up all this, we get 60 days minus C, that is credit period. C is given as directly 16 days. So, take 16 days minus, you get operating cycle as 44 days. Now, after calculation of operating cycle, we have to calculate in a day, in a year, how many operating cycles are there. So, number of operating cycles would be 365 days divided by 44 days. We get 8 as number of operating cycles. Now, calculate working capital requirement. Working capital estimation, now it is very simple. You have to take total cost. Total cost is 10,500 followed by 3 zeros divided by number of operating cycles 8. We get working capital requirement as 13,12,500. This is how we are estimating working capital requirement. But the difficulty or the limitation of this particular method is, we do get working capital requirement fine, but then we are not going to get component wise, that is how much amount is required for raw material, what is the amount blocked in work in progress, in finished goods, in debtors. That means component wise amount is not given by this method. Therefore, we go for the next method. Next method is estimation of working capital for each component. For the purpose of calculating, we take the annual expenditure for each component. That means, in a year, how much we are spending on raw material, in a year, how much we are spending on finished goods production. So, take annual expenditure for each component, multiply with operating cycle for each component. That means, for how much period we are having in the form of raw material, for how many days the raw material is being blocked in the organization. We are going to calculate working capital requirement for each component. For each component, we are going to say annual expenditure for each component divide by 365. We are dividing by 365 so that we get for one day what is the expenditure for that particular component. Then multiply with operating cycle for that particular component. We will know as to what is the amount required for that particular component. Now, let us see as to how it is to be calculated. Here raw material cost per unit is given, direct labor, then overhead, total cost per unit is being given. Then average raw material is 1 month, that means operating cycle for raw material is 1 month. Then average work in progress, it is half month, finished goods 1 month. Wages you are not going to pay right now, you are going to pay after 1.5 weeks, and overheads you are not going to pay right now, you are paying after 1 month, and cash sales are 1/4. When we say cash sales are 1/4, that means out of the total sales, 3/4 is your credit sales. Then to the from the suppliers, we are getting a credit of 1 month. To the debtors, we are allowing 2 months credit. Total output in a year is 70,000. Contingents is 10%, cash balance is 1,20,000. If this is the situation, now we will see how we are going to estimate working capital for each component. We will take current assets, total of current assets will give you gross working capital, then take current liabilities, add up current liabilities, total current liabilities you are going to get. From the gross working capital, total current assets minus current liabilities, you are going to get net working capital. Now, for the purpose of calculating raw material, what we do is, we should know annual expenditure for raw material. Annual expenditure for raw material, in order to know, raw material cost per unit is given as 52, and then total output in a year is given as 70,000. So, raw material cost per annum would be 70,000 multiplied with 52. This is for 1 year, 70,000 multiplied with 52 would be for 1 year, divide by 12 months. So, that we will get raw material cost for 1 month, but operating cycle for raw material, how much we have seen? It is 1 month. So, multiply with 1 month, you are going to get raw material estimation as 3,03,333. Similarly, we are going to calculate work in progress. Work in progress would be the total cost incurred for the purpose of manufacturing. Raw material cost, direct labor and overhead. Raw material cost, direct labor and overhead, total cost is 110.5. So, in a year production is 70,000, multiply with 110.5, we will get for 1 year. But work in progress, stage for how much period it is? It is half month. that means 0.5. So, divide by 12 months, multiply with 0.5, you get working capital requirement in the form of work in progress. Now, coming to the finished goods would be total production in a year is 70,000, cost of production is 110.5 and finished goods are for a period of 1 month. So, divide by 12 months, multiply with 1 month, you are going to get finished goods amount being blocked. Now, coming to the debtors we have to take only credit sales. Total production is 70,000 and total cost is 110.5. Cash sales are 1/4. So, you are going to get take only 3/4 as credit sales. To the debtors we have allowed a period of 2 months. So, multiply with 2 months, this everything is for 12 months, hence divide by 12, you get debtors. Cash directly they said you have to have cash minimum 1,20,000. So, add up all this, you are going to get total current assets. This total current asset is your gross working capital. Now, coming to the current liabilities, creditors. Creditors, total production 70,000, creditors will have only when we purchase raw material on credit basis and raw material cost is 52. Creditors, you have given a period of credit to the extent of 1 month, multiply with 1 month, divide by 12, you get creditors amount. Wages, you are not going to pay right now, you are going to pay after 1.5 months. So, 70,000 multiply with wages amount per unit is 19.5, it is only for 1.5 weeks. So, multiply with 1.5 weeks, we are not going to take denominator as 365 because numerator we have taken in weeks, therefore, take number of weeks in a year, that is 52 weeks, you get wages amount. Similarly, you are going to calculate for overhead. Overhead would be overhead cost at 9 rupees, production is 70,000 and it is for a period of 1 month, multiply with 1 month, divide by 12, you are going to get overhead. This is what is your total current liabilities. Net working capital would be current assets minus current liabilities. Total of current assets we got earlier, that minus current liabilities, you are going to get 17,86,875. Then in the problem they said add 10% for contingencies because unforeseen contingencies may be there, therefore, you have to have something as buffer. So, add 10%, you get 1,78,688, 10% of net working capital. Total would be 19,65,563. This is what your working capital requirement. Earlier, we have calculated the final amount. We have calculated component wise working capital.